Mwenyezi Mungu tuongoze njia iliyonyoka. Sasa sisi tunatakana tuelekee njia iliyonyoka. Mbona tuenda huku na kule, na kila mmoja ni kiongozi, kila mmoja sema lake, kila mmoja ataka kufuatwa yeye.
Practice this direction from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala perfectly.
Reminders from the member.
Msije mkafata nyayo na barabara na njia ya shetani.
Saingine Muslim anafikiria ni kupata mali neema.
With the best of hatibs.
We tasted the pleasure, the sweetness of ibadah, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said
there are no times that can be equal to these days except maybe.
Tune in to Horizon TV and watch Friday khutbahs from different masajid every Tuesday and Thursday at 5 p.m.
تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا.
Ni kitabu kitukufu.
Ni kitabu ambacho cha miujiza
kilichoteremshwa kwa mpangilio.
Hazikuletwa harufu hizi za mkato moja kwa moja.
Hakuna mfano wake.
Na hamwezi nyinyi Makureishi kuwa ni wenye kutunga kitabu kama hiki, ingawa zimetumia harufu zile ambazo zimezitumia katika kuandika au katika kusema.
Miujiza yake Al-Malik.
Mwenyezi Mungu ana uwezo usiokuwa na kifano.
Ni malengo ya Qur'an.
Khazain zote za ardhi na samawati ziko mikononi mwake.
Sheikh Muhammad Badamana na uchambuzi wa Qur'an kwa undani kila Alhamisi saa 3 usiku kwenye Horizon TV.
Dear viewers, in case of any feedback, advice or complaints regarding our programming, contact Horizon TV on 079
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show only on Horizon TV.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is Friday and the roundtable begins now with me, your host Yusuf Farah, stepping in for my sister Aisha Khan. And as usual, we have two segments that will last you 2 hours. I'll take you through the newspaper review with my partner in the studio with me. And after that, we will discuss the matters of the day. That is the untold story of police brutality in Lamu. Now remember, for you at home, you can join in the conversation through our Facebook, Instagram and Twitter handles at Horizontv Kenya and our SMS line at 21951. This is Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation. Now, let us move on to my panelists in studio with me to start with the newspaper review. I have Franklin and Munene. I don't know why Munene is not wearing blue. He's saying someone didn't give him the memo. But anyway, let's start with the Daily Nation. And The headline in the Daily Nation reads, Jubilee Rift, Ruto Tuju feud over poll. Now, Deputy President's move to announce party elections set for early next year stirs up a honest nest in the ruling party, with the Secretary General saying only the National Executive Council can call for the votes, and members of the Kieleweke accusing the DP of staging a coup. Now, Franklin, the DP has made a move to go and say the party elections will be set for early next year. Basically, this is not in his mandate.
Yeah.
This is for the National Executive Council to do. Yeah. So, is this a political move, or what is happening in the Kieleweke camp?
Basically, there's a political move, because once you have to look at the DP is interested in 2022, and the president is not interested in 2022 by now. So the DP want to place himself in such a way like he has the control of all the elements or machineries that is going to help him attain the seat come 2022. On the other hand, it's not clear in terms of politics with the president, because the president has the 4 agenda and that is his focus. So everybody behind him, except the president now, having the team of Kieleweke and Tanga, that's why they are geared, like there's a big and complete drift between the two. And that's why I think now the DP is really geared in like, I have to make this one, and because he's one of the key people who are part of the formation of Jubilee. That's why he wants to take his stake at hand and move forward, regardless of whether the president is in with it for it or not.
But why go for something that is not under his mandate? Because as we can see, it is only the National Executive Council can do it.
But again, from where he stands, he doesn't want to take anything for chance. He just wants to make sure that all the elements, he has a grip of them, because once you lose from here, it's just a calculated and time is moving. So for him to be complete sure, that's why he really needs to take up all, like more especially the state house operations. Once he has that one, and then now he'll be in a position at least to influence the forces that be, the deep state, at least to rally behind him as we are gearing for the campaigns.
Munene, your thoughts?
I think a lesson in history, when it comes to our political parties, we don't have political parties that stand for ideology, that stand for a given cause. We have political parties who are individuals. If the individual who is the head and the leader of the party gets out, there is no party anymore. KANU was Moi and Moi was KANU. PNU was Kibaki and Kibaki was PNU. ODM is Raila and Raila is ODM. The Jubilee is not Jubilee. Jubilee is between URP and TNA, so we get the concept of it's between the DP and Mr. Kenyatta. And I'll tell you for a fact, currently we have Jubilee Kieleweke and Jubilee Tanga. When it comes to 2022, if the DP will be in the ballot for the presidential, he will not go in currently with the Jubilee party. We know it. He will either form another party or Jubilee will just disintegrate, because Jubilee doesn't have any agenda, doesn't have ideology. The only ideology for Jubilee is Kenyatta and DP, and when they are not in the same page anymore, there is no Jubilee anymore.
So it's more of a political move from the Deputy President?
The Deputy President wants to form up is a new umbrella that will take him to 2022. He will either consolidate the power in Jubilee, kick out the rebels who are Team Kieleweke, or he will be forced out of Jubilee. He will go out and form another political party.
Do you see him succeeding in that?
Yes, he can succeed. It will, because it's either way. He will either get kicked out of Jubilee or he will kick people out of Jubilee.
All right. Now let's move on to the Standard, and the headline in the Standard read, "The big wars in Uhuru's State House. All the president's men. Trouble is brewing in Uhuru's kitchen cabinet. Chief of Staff Nzioka Waita is a man under siege as Kinyua succession battle gets personal and dirty for the aides." Now, to understand this better, reports suggest that the simmering succession wars in the president's inner circle are linked to the expected departure of head of civil service Joseph Kinyua, and the people want this seat to remain in Central. Yes. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
Basically, it's just the fight of the power of control, or rather control of power, because the kitchen cabinet, where everything comes from, and that's why the State House people from Central, I can say that like that, they really want to get grip of this, because once they have a grip of how the state of affairs, they've been in a position now of influencing their quote unquote, like their person or their preferred candidate as we are moving to these elections. So every move right now is not by accident. Everything is well calculated. It's a race against time, and everybody knows what they are after in that.
All right. Munene, should the seat remain in Central?
I think you have to look at probably in a holistic perspective of it. Currently, the state is run from State House. The instrument of power are held in State House, and anyone who is close to power is be able to be close to authority, and will be able to influence the decisions and the policy making of the country. Since time immemorial, the people in Central Kenya have felt the warmth and the comfort of state power, and I think you need to have a person who you yourself trust as the head of state, and the constituents that put you trust. We have probably conspiracy theories that will go back in 2013. Mr. Kenyatta had almost given up, but he was pushed by some dark forces to come up and take the presidency. I think these are the same people who want to the state powers and the instruments of power to remain close to them, because they will be able to influence the policies and the decision making, regardless of who will be having the seat of power at State House.
Dark forces there from Munene. Now, Franklin, what would it mean if the seat were to move from Central and probably be clinched by another area?
You see, there's an image, and once people from let's say for example the Central, because once they have the person they can trust, the person they believe is on their side, that is when they are going to be in a position of amassing the forces towards a certain agenda. But as my colleague has said, dark forces, I can just call forces that be, because once you have that, and then trust me, everything is going to be in place. But if they get it wrong, for example, they get someone from maybe North Rift or even northern part of Kenya, that one is going to take a different shape. Like now, so and so is somewhere. Now, the agenda is not going to be driven forward the way they really wish to be driven.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now let's move on to the Star. And CMC appeals to Uhuru over 12 billion shilling police tender roll. Now the company is accusing Kibicho of disobeying an order against inviting fresh bids. Now CMC Motors has urged the order and arrest and prosecution of Interior Principal Secretary Karanja Kibichu for disobeying an order against calling for bids in the 12.6 billion tender for leased police vehicles. Now they are saying that Karanja Kibicho has personal interests at heart. What are your thoughts on this, Munene?
I think it's unfortunate, because it is about the welfare of police and how they are supposed to disseminate their duties, and eventually it trickles down to how policing is done to the common mwananchi. When the Jubilee government came in power, I'll give them the props up, because they have tried to equip the police. Currently, you will not call the police and they will tell you that there is no vehicle in the police station, or they don't have petrol. The government has taken care of that, but this goes to the rot that the people who are in government really don't have the aspect of patriotism. We don't have the leaders who put the interest of the state ahead of their own selfish interest. I think the main subject here should be, are these police vehicles utilized to really benefit the citizens? As the lives of Kenyans been changed after this, the leasing of police vehicles was brought in place, and I think the money of who should get the tender, who shouldn't get the tender, who is supposed to control the tender, shouldn't be the issue. The issue should be, Kenyans getting value for their money.
Right. Franklin, is it more of a selfish move by Karanja Kibicho, or?
One thing I have to say, like, these are our leaders. We've put them there. So whatever they are reflecting, it's a true character of Kenyans. So Kenyans apparently right now the corruption has eaten up the fabric of society. We have no morals. So whatever, like what they are alleging that Karanja is after, trust me, is like someone somewhere thinks, because it's not confirmed, someone somewhere thinks like now this guy, he's after eating something, of which, and basing, if anything, history is anything to go by, that has been the trend. So like they want to at least eat something and then leave something, so for someone to eat. Nobody has the interest of Kenyan. Nobody is interested whether the police are taken well care of, whether the more common citizen gets the services that for the tax that he's paying. Nobody gives a damn on that.
Okay, well, what about who are we blaming for this? Because now, as you said, the allegement, what we are accusing Karanja Kibicho of is a reflection of the common mwananchi.
Yes.
So are we saying we're also selfish or what?
Apparently, since now he's on the screen side, we have to say, like, it starts with me and you. Trust me, we have gone away from our morals of the society that we are taught to stand for. Like corruption is bad, take what is your stake and leave the rest. That is how we've been trained. But since these days now, like Kenyans want to take something. If you can benefit from that one, you run away with it. You don't want to care who's coming next. So if the trend really continues, not only in government services, even in your own house, because we are in this, like we want to have more and amass more, we don't even sweating for it. So the best thing we need, and the only person we need to blame here, the buck stops at the president, yes, but remember it starts with me and you, so that we can effect the change.
Okay.
Yes. I think just for a quick comment, for the issue of Karanja Kibicho, when we're talking, we should go back and say, where does he draw his powers from? When you ask the question, who should be blamed or who is responsible for his actions? Cabinet secretary, permanent secretaries draw their powers from the presidency. So I think the only person who is responsible for the deeds and for the actions and everything that the cabinet secretary, the PSs do are directly from State House, are directly from the powers that the president has wielded to them.
Right. Very informative thoughts there from Franklin and Munene that bring us to the first break. But don't go too far, because when we come back, this headline is what we are coming with. Jubilee ya Saliti Kibaki. Don't go too far.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show. Only on Horizon TV.
Ampenda sana Mtume sallam hata kushinda watoto wake. Na Abdul Muttalib, Mtume Muhammad sallam alikuwa ni mjukuu wake. Abu Talib na babake Mtume sallam dimba ndugu, tumbo moja, mama moja, baba moja. Baada ya miaka miwili Abdul Muttalib kufa, alipofika miaka 10 wakaamua kufunga safari kwenda Sham, kwenda kufanya biashara. Faqala rahib, huyu mtoto akifika akionekana dola ya Rum watamuua. Akaamua kurudi kuweza kuishi katika mji wa Makka kwa mara nyingine.
Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
only on Horizon TV.
Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba. Welcome back to the roundtable with me, your host Yusuf Farah, stepping in for my sister Aisha Khan. Now, before we went on the break, we were discussing this topic on the Taifa Leo. Jubilee ya saliti Kibaki. Serikali ya puuza sera za rais mstaafu zilizoboresha maisha ya mwananchi wa kawaida. Now, Franklin, do you feel like this headline is correct? Like we have neglected the policies that were set there by His Excellency Mwai Kibaki?
True. And I think that headline is just on point. And if I can go with the Swahili, like wakati Mheshimiwa Uhuru Kenyatta alipochukua hatamu za uongozi mwaka 2013, alichukua kila kitu ambacho kilikuwa, alirithi tuseme, kutoka kwa rais mstaafu Emilio Mwai Kibaki. Kwa sababu Emilio Mwai Kibaki ndiye alikuwa na miundo msingi yote. Ukiangalia SGR, ukiangalia kile kitu ambacho saa hizi ambacho tunaweza kusema kwamba kimetimia, ni kazi ambayo iliweza kuasisiwa na rais Emilio Mwai Kibaki. Lakini kuja sasa Uhuru mwenyewe, hakuna kile kitu ambacho amefanya kinacho tusema kwamba kimeendeleza. Kwa sababu ukiangalia SGR ilikuwa na malengo mazuri kile kitu, lakini angalia ni pesa ngapi tumetumia katika huo mradi. Ukiangalia vitu vingine kama afya na nini, umeona NHIF juzi watu wamekula fedha za wananchi, yani kwa sababu ni kusalitiwa kabisa. Yani hakuna hata kitu kimoja ambacho kimeenda kulingana na jinsi ambavyo kiliasisiwa na rais mstaafu Mwai Kibaki na hadi sasa hivi. Na tunapoelekea hamna tumaini.
Na tunaweza mlaumu nani kwa makosa haya?
Kwa makosa haya bila shaka mlaumu mwenye Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, kwa sababu yeye ndio yuko pale kwenye kiti na yeye ndio ana haki, kwa sababu kila katiba na vyombo vyote vya dola vimempa mamlaka ya kuweza kuchukua hatua ama kuweza kuleta marekebisho muhimu, na hasa kuangazia kwamba tumeweza kuafikia yale malengo ambayo yalikuwa hapo wakati tuna asisi hiyo miradi yote.
Naam, Munene, tumemsaliti rais mstaafu Mwai Kibaki kwa maoni yako?
Utanisamea kwa kuwa Kiswahili changu si kizuri, but
unaruhusiwa kuongea lugha.
I'll say that Kibaki hajasalitiwa. Kama kuna mtu amesalitiwa ni wa Kenya. And I'll say it's unfortunate that this headline will go in a national newspaper and say Kibaki has been what is it, betrayed. It's unfortunate because when we voted for Mr. Kenyatta, we gave him the authority to lead us for the next 5 years, to make policy and to make decisions for this country. Kibaki had taken the right route, let's say the right hand route. Uhuru had the mandate of running the country. He took the south hand route, and that is constitutionally is right. And we had empowered him, and we had given him the authority to make the decisions on our behalf as Kenyans. And if we feel that Mr. Kenyatta has failed in the mandate that we gave him, it's the responsibility of us as Kenyans to go back and ask the second person that will be giving this mandate to make these decisions on our behalf, what are really their policies? What are they going to do? I think it's the systematic problematic of the Kenyan voter that they really don't understand what it takes apart from just casting that vote. When you cast that vote, it trickles down to how you will pay taxes, how you will attend schools, how healthcare will be provided for you. The mentality of the Kenyan voter is not as holistic. I'll say that people felt the impact of Kibaki's presidency because Kibaki took the mentality of a small government that will uplift the economy upwards going down. We'll do small things of building small schools, of building roads, of doing water, small projects that eventually will go back, go upwards. The economy, when you speak to economists, they'll tell you the economy that comes from the grassroots upwards. But the Jubilee administration took the issue of, we have to firstly take care of the larger umbrella of the economy, and then it will trickle down to Kenyans. Let's build big airports, let's build larger ports, let's build the SGR, let's build pipelines. Eventually those infrastructure will go down to trickle down to the Kenyans. Unfortunately, it has taken a long time, and I think the policies that Kenyatta has taken will take a long time to be able to reach to the common mwananchi. So the issue of saying someone has been betrayed by someone or someone has been betrayed by someone is the responsibility of Kenyan voters to understand that the people they give the mandate to govern over them, it's up to, if they make mistakes, it's up for them to be blamed for the mistakes that the leaders make.
Okay, so what is the way going forward in the forthcoming elections? How do we make sure that we put the right people in this position?
The problem will come. We practice politics of tribalism. Everyone will go back to their village. People will form up regional heads and regions, kingmakers. People will, the common Wanjiko will be lied to by the new 1,000 note, or for women they will only be given lessons. They will go and vote for these leaders. They will come back to Nairobi, fill their stomachs and fill their bank accounts, and the common mwananchi will still continue crying.
Okay, but what is it that we can get from this? Like, how do we move forward instead of getting all those 1,000 notes and everything? Like, how do we become smart about this, because it is our future at stake?
I'll say we have a crop of new young leaders and intellectuals in this country. Let's say, for example, the likes of us. So it's our responsibility, the knowledge that we have, we go back and disseminate it to the common person who doesn't understand the policy making and the decisions that our leaders make. And I think eventually, when you ask these people, when you go back to the village, even your village elders will listen to you. And if we are able to connect to them, the knowledge that we have, translate them to the common understanding of our mothers and grandmothers back in the village, we will be able to transform this country, every vote, and it will be able to count.
Okay, Franklin, you're in agreement with that?
I have a disagreement, because we've seen many youth elected in parliament, more especially in this current parliament, has many youth than ever. But what are they doing except showbiz, fighting here and there, throwing words? So the best thing, and this is what I encourage anybody, so long as you're within the Kenyan border right now, we have simple values, national values that we need to embrace. Everything has been laid clearly, because we'll go there, back there, we'll vote. For example, we vote Mr. X, he'll go in parliament and join the system of looting the resources from national coffers. So the best thing we need to do right now is just start from me and you and everybody else. Let's start. If you say it's 1, let it be 1. It's not 1, but you mean 1.5.
Can we cite practical examples?
For example, if we say, we're going for the another loan to complete the remaining phase of 2A from Naivasha to
the SGR.
Yes. So if, because the parliament has raised the room for the president to borrow more. But if, Mr. President, you're going to borrow, for example, 2 million, or rather 2 trillion, borrow 2 trillion, just an example, borrow 2 trillion, and let that 2 trillion be utilized fully, not hiking prices, not Do I have to get something? Not like at the end of the day, what am I gaining? Because we are Kenyan, and if we continue with this mentality, trust me, in like 30, 20 years coming down the line, we are not going to have a country.
All right. Now, let's move on to the People Daily, and the headline reads, IG calls crisis meeting over rogue police. Now, the rising cases of law enforcers involved in crime is threatening to blot IG Hilary Mutyambai's illustrious career. Munene, we've seen cops being rounded up. We've seen cops being involved in crime. And the question really is, this their mandate or their motto is service with dignity, but is it really?
I think I really don't put all the blame to the rogue police officers that we have. We should go back to how are we recruiting them. We take up the failures of the education system that we have and give them guns and tell them to run around with tear gases. And this eventually goes to, we give them so much responsibility and so much authority, but we're not able to compensate them for them to feel the impact and the responsibility they hold for Kenyans. We don't pay them well, we don't insure them well, and we just disregard them. And I think this comes from the mentality that we inherited the police systems from the colonial government. The colonial government put up the police structure so that it will be able to overrule and be able to keep the black person in check, so that you will not be able to rise up against the white minority who are ruling over the country. And it's unfortunate that is the psychology that since over 50 years later we are teaching our police officers. Police officers, the notion is service. They are there to provide a service to Kenyans. They are there to ensure that when you walk at night, you're safe. They are there to ensure that your business will not be robbed. But what is happening? Police officers are there to rob you, to root your businesses, and basically to harass you. Because the mentality is the police officer is there and you are down there as a mwananchi. And I think it's unfortunate, the leaders that we have, when they take up these political opportunities, they end up using the police in their own service. The Kenya police currently is not providing service to the common mwananchi. They are either servicing themselves or they are servicing the elected leaders.
All right, Franklin, your take?
Honestly, there's a Swahili say, normally says, mgala muwe na haki yake mpe. For the police department, genuinely, and under the new reforms, they have really done a lot in terms of trying to improve the police service. And so many things, so many brutalities that we used to have, at least, not that they are gone, but the cases have been minimized. And I think the step the IG has taken is a really right step. And what we need to do right now as Kenyans is just to trust them, because we've given them the apparatus necessary to remedy the situation. Let's just trust them, and again, let's give them all the support they need. Because at least I can tell you for sure, the police service, and they are more human now than they used to be. As much as we have some few elements here and there, we need only to beef up our policies, beef up our apparatus in such a way to be in a position to net that rogue element, or at least minimize that to the minimum as much as possible.
Okay. Munene, you said that the police are not being paid well and they're not being given their due diligence, but does that give them reason to go rogue or do whatever is it that they do?
Of course, that two wrongs don't make a right. Just because we have a lot of other public servants that are not being paid well, doctors, teachers, and they are not really, the work and the input that they put is not well remunerated from the government. But the police officers are on the spotlight because he is the person who holds the gun, and he is the person who is the law, or who is supposed to ensure that the law is followed. And if you give this person, I was trying to say, this authority and this mandate, and you don't give them the need to really understand what is at stake for them, how much responsible they are for the Kenyan citizenry, they will end up being attracted on the wrong side of it. I'll give you an example of people who work at the CBK or KRA. The notion was, let's pay them well, so that they will not be attracted to stealing the money that they are keeping. Same thing with the police officers. If they are well remunerated, if they live in better houses, if they are well taught that they are there to provide a service, they are there to ensure the lives of Kenyans are comfortable, I think they are also human beings. They will be able to understand the responsibility that has been put on them and the oath that they take in Keganjo and Embakasi to ensure that they provide this service to Kenyans. But you can't give a person this much authority and at the same time not make sure that they understand, and you really take care of them, so that their only duty will be to uphold the oath and not to think of, I'm going back to my Mabati shack which I share with my wife and 2 other families, my children. I'm not taking care of these political children going to Brook House while my children are going somewhere in some small school in Mathare. And I think when we're able to take care of them, they will be able to take care of the oath that they took.
All right. The thoughts of Munene right there that bring us to the end of the second segment. But when we come back, the headline from the Friday Bulletin is, we will address your concerns. This is the pledge by Fred Matiang'i. Stay tuned for that.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
تبارك الذي نزل الفرقان على عبده ليكون للعالمين نذيرا.
Ni kitabu kitukufu
ni kitabu ambacho cha miujiza
kilichoteremshwa kwa mpangilio.
Hazikuletwa harufu hizi za mkato moja kwa moja,
hakuna mfano wake,
na hamwezi nyinyi Makureishi kuwa ni wenye kutunga kitabu kama hiki, ingawa zimetumia harufu zile ambazo zimezitumia katika kuandika au katika kusema.
Miujiza yake Al-Malik.
Mwenyezi Mungu ana uwezo usiokuwa na kifani.
Ni malengo ya Qur'an.
Khazain zote za ardhi na samawati ziko mikononi mwake.
Sheikh Muhammad Badamana na uchambuzi wa Qur'an kwa undani kila Alhamisi saa 3 usiku kwenye Horizon TV. Horizon TV, the beacon for the nation.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Welcome to the third and final segment of the Roundtable with me, your host Yusuf Farah, standing in for my sister Aisha Khan. Now, on the Friday Bulletin, the headline reads, we will address your concern, Matiang'i pledges to Muslims. Now, Franklin, how important is it that the needs and the concerns or requests of every person, not just the Muslims, are addressed as far as the government is concerned going forward?
You see, we need to go back to the basics of what's the government. Government, it's me and you. Yeah. Anybody within the Kenyan borders, anybody who's supposed to be paying the tax, anybody within, that is the government. So it's upon the responsibility, because as earlier on we had said, we do voting, we do everything, all the civic rights and all the civic responsibilities given us by the Constitution. And remember, we have one thing in common, that is the Constitution, that is governing everybody in Kenya. So that's why, like, anybody who is in Mandera, anybody who is in Busia, anybody who is in Taveta, they need to feel that the government is for them, the government is serving for them, and they really need to get the feeling of owning the government, not being sidelined by the government. Yes.
All right. Now let's move on to the Business Daily, and the headline reads, Safaricom seeks to acquire stake in Ethiopia Telco. Now, the telecom company is considering buying a stake in Ethiopia's state-owned Ethio Telecom, which has announced the sale of shares through a privatization plan. Now, Munene, do you think Safaricom is trying to become a regional giant as far as telecommunication is concerned?
I think Safaricom is already a regional giant. It's one of the most profitable companies in East and Central of Southern Sahara. I think what they are trying to do, they are trying to consolidate and swallow up their competition. We have the prospect of, in the political quarters, of one day we will have a East Africa Federation, and I think these highly profitable businesses are looking into the future. Probably when one day we will be as a federation of East African states, Safaricom will be one of the leading telcos, probably controlling in a customer base of over 200 million people. I think in the business aspect is well thought of. I'll go back to the political aspect of let our leaders try and encourage wealth creation among East Africans, and eventually the creation of the East African Federation will ensure that this wealth will trickle down to all of us as East Africans.
Right. Now let's move to in-depth stories, and we'll start with the Daily Nation, page 6. Strong currents hinder efforts to retrieve Likoni car. Now, divers tried their best to hook the car, but these undersea currents were too strong and are calling for another strategy. Franklin, is there hope for the family of this mother and the 4-year-old that drowned?
That is one thing we need really to pray, and because right now I know we are fighting against nature, and but my hope is there's already a best technical team that we can have right now, because initially I was a bit worried about how the government was just trying to fumble here and there without having the right techniques or the skills. But right now, with the team I've seen on the ground, I believe we are going to, the only thing we need to pray is for patience, and again, let's the nature cool down, and of which I hope soon, because as per the government spokesman yesterday, is saying the plans are underway. We only need to just give some time, and they will retrieve the vehicles from there.
Munene.
It's unfortunate 2 lives were lost in a human error accident. May their souls rest in peace. I think there's no hope for the mother and for the baby and the vehicles in the vehicle, because they have already lost their lives. With the father and the family, they are praying and hoping they can retrieve the body. I think this goes to the responsibility and the structures of disaster management in this country. In this Likoni accident, I think we have a very big naval base in Mombasa of the Kenya Navy. They could have taken up that issue. The commanding officer should have tried to test the guys and see how much equipped or how much are they ready to handle these issues. A few months ago, the president commissioned the Kenya Coast Guard, gave them a very big fighting warship. I really don't know what those equipment they are using for. I'll go back and say the police, I think there is a marine base for the police at the coast. We have the Kenya Naval base, and I don't know what they are doing. I think the issue of we took the Kenya Army and the Air Force in Somalia, and I don't know what our Navy is doing. It's unfortunate. I think someone somewhere in my family will be mad, but I think they really should have done more, because we, as a country, we look up at the KDF as the neutral base, the protector of this country, and they are there when we can't be there. We love them, we appreciate them, but I think for this issue, they should have probably flexed their muscle a little bit and see what they can really do.
All right, still on page 6 there. Another tragedy as gold mine kills 3 students after Awasi crash. Now, the determination of these 3 to get cash for domestic use and for school fees led them to indulge in a risky business. Now, there was a candidate here who died in this, and the question really is, what does it say when a miner involves themselves in a risky business like gold mining to get money for their domestic use and whatever it is that they do? Franklin.
That's a very sad situation we have right there. But you see, the main thing is we need to survive. That is the basic principle. We need to survive, and for you to survive, you need to look for means, and that's why the kid or the students had to leave their learning premises to go out and at least get something. I think it goes back to the rotten system that we are having, because remember, these are candidates. No matter what, they are minors. They are not supposed to be in the mining zone, but because of someone somewhere has eaten what this kid is supposed to be getting. Now that leaves this kid vulnerable in such a way that he or she has to leave class and go, instead of preparing for the coming exams, he has to be there. So it calls for the integrity of us as Kenyans, those leaders, because the government is there, we are paying tax, we are doing everything as responsible citizens, but now on the other hand, we are being let down by our government.
Okay, page 6 of the Standard, the dying towns of Mount Kenya region. Now, these were once throbbing with a town that was throbbing once with life, but today they're a pale shadow of their former self. Now, this is a story of a town in the Mount Kenya region that used to be thriving in business, but thanks to the collapse of tea and the coffee sector, it's just ruins that are left. So what corrective measures would you suggest, Munene, as far as the agricultural sector is concerned?
It's unfortunate that farmers in Rift Valley ask the government to buy maize for them, while farmers in Mount Kenya don't sell any of their produce directly to the government. The tea and coffee is taken to an auction in Mombasa. If the international market doesn't take them, they don't have any fallback plan. And the other thing is people really don't take this up, and I think I challenge the media to take this up. There are no more young families in Mount Kenya. Young men are drowning in drugs and alcoholism. There are no marriages there anymore. There are no babies there. Nurseries and kindergartens are closing down. So eventually there are no people to take these up economic activities. People have gone to the other bigger towns where these county offices are. If they are not working with the border work, so some of them are just in some houses betting and gambling.
All right, Franklin, what sort of agricultural businesses can they dive into, because now we're seeing the coffee and tea sector is failing?
Okay, you see, in the central region, it's very viable for so many crops, and other than coffee, and there are more other options, for example, because I know even in the agricultural sector in that area, the ministry or the county governments, they have the right machineries to educate members on which crops, and again, how are they, because we need to move away from the mentality of like, if there is no tea, there is no life. If there is no coffee, there is no life. There are other more varieties that we can really blend in and make sure that we get our food supply. Yeah.
All right, now let's move on to page 36 of the Star. A light story here now. Kipchoge calm ahead of tomorrow's race. He says, I'm feeling well, I'm happy with the course, and I am waiting for Saturday, revealed world record holder. Now he's going to try and set a new record of 1:59. Do you feel, or do you think that he's going to do it, Munene?
Yes, I'm very emotional about this.
Please don't cry.
Yes, I'm trying to hold my tears back. I think this is one of those moments that we're really proud to be Kenyans. We come together and forget all our ills and all our problems that we have as a country and really focus on what brings in together, what brings happiness in this country. I think every Kenyan, not just in our borders all over the world, will be rooting for one of the heroes and iconic members of this country. We are proud of Eliud. We are praying for him. We hope that you will do the best for this country. You will inspire a lot of young people in this republic, especially from his home region of Rift Valley. And I think we should celebrate more of the people who put the state in whatever they do. I think we should appreciate them more because they really market us out there, and they are I might say the only hope that we have in this country. And a quick comment, it's unfortunate that some of the athletes have been caught up in these doping scandals, and the question of Kenyan runners has been put into question. But I believe there are people out there who really are fighting what is right for them and what God gave us. And I think Eliud will be on historical books as ensuring that no man is limited. Our race is only against time. And I think we should take up as Kenyans and even as our leaders that we are not competing against ourselves, we are only competing with time.
Right. Now, Franklin, do we as a country do enough to make sure that our athletes have the best of equipment, our best taken care of, their health is a priority?
As I think as a country we have failed there because there's no effort whatsoever. For example, I can give you a very good example. During the last couple of nations that were when Madagascar arrived at their home, the way they were received. But here in Kenya, when we have our athletes coming from wherever they are and someone has won a gold, someone has done marvelously wonderful, the only thing we can just say is just send a minor officer in the Ministry of Sports to welcome them in the airport. Really? Is that being reasonable enough? Okay, that one aside, what are the systems that we're having right now from grassroots all the way up to the national? The only thing we have, and I know, is people having a stake. There's an Olympic team, there's an athletic association team, there's whatever team, but what am I getting? And we're raising the government. The other day, we gave over 250 million to our national team, Harambee Stars, whereas others still want to eat that money. You get claims that some people have not been paid and money has been released from the treasury for the same event. So what do we really need to do as the government? Our athletes are, to me, I can call them the true citizens of this country, because whenever they're out there, they really fight and you can see the spirit. Now, how about we just amass our resources together and at least make them appreciated? At least as much as they are trying to be the role models, let's create the environment to be friendly for these people who they are trying to be role models, to imitate them. Yeah.
Munene, very quick a word about this as he talks, as he goes to take on the record, Kipchoge.
I'll say Kipchoge, go ahead, represent us. I'll say I keep on making this analogy. The bones of my grandfather Tokirera are lying somewhere in the slopes of Mount Kenya, where he died fighting for freedom. Tomorrow I'll be cheering for the freedom that we got from this country. And I'll say Kipchoge has really inspired myself as a person. The only race we are racing against is time.
All right, very thoughtful thoughts there from my panelist. And we here at Horizon TV want to wish Kipchoge the best as he goes to take on the world record. We believe in you, Kipchoge, and we believe you can do it. Now that brings us to the end of the newspaper review, but don't go too far, because when we come back, our topic of the day, the policemen gone wrong, particularly talking about Lamu. You are watching the Sabah Show.
Assalamu alaikum. Let's brighten up your morning. I am Aisha Khan and you're watching the Sabah Show.
Only on Horizon TV.
Wake up to exciting mornings every day. Active Jumatatu with Muhammad Obura. Tech Tuesday with Yusuf Farah. Wednesday, the special edition Business Chat with Ibtisam Jamal. All about your health on Healthy Thursdays with Mariam Mwacharo. Aisha Khan with thorny pertinent issues every Friday on the Round Table. Fresh discussions, direct probe in Sabah Show, only on Horizon.